Hey, it's Shiny, and I'm back with the episode of Shiny's Lab, and I'm doing season 10, episode 6, American Horror Story Double Feature, Winter Kills. So a lot happened in this episode, but then not a lot really, but we're gonna get into it. So the police chief that I'ma kill body found up in the water. You remember the police chief that was investigating the murders in the early episodes? Well, yeah, her body was finally found, and we know that Amma killed her. So of course, she had her throat open, she had severe wounds, and her blood was drained like all the other victims. So the townspeople are having this towns meeting, whatever, for the town. And a state police officer shows up and she confronting the town about the death of the police chief. And she's like, hey, we found your police chief, floating in the water. Anybody got any questions or concerns? And the town is like, oh, maybe it was a shark. And the officer is like, all of these murders happen miles from the beach. It appears that these bodies are being dumped here. And like I say, remember, everybody has like big bite marks on their neck and stuff. So the police chief is like, the state police officer is like, yeah, right. Sharks my ass. So then the town is like, these are what we call the winter problems. And the town is like, these are just winter problems. And she's like, what does that mean? And they're like, every winter we have these problems. It happens, it goes away. They're more concerned about, their reputation and money. They don't want to scare tourists away, or basically anybody that could be eaten by the little creatures. They don't want to scare them away. So they're like, no, we're not gonna raise concerns about it. And she's like, wait. So they like, yo, sis, ignore the deaths. Like, they basically telling her to just ignore the deaths. And she's like, I'm not doing it. So the state police officer, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna have y'all all arrested for impeding a crime if I found out y'all know something about this. And so the council is talking amongst themselves, and the guy, the guy that sold the chemist the house, well, basically that sold everyone's house, the decorator guy, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of it. So I'm like, okay, whatever that means. So Bella Austin, the chemist, and the town guy are all talking, and he's like, look, y'all came here, y'all started this shit, y'all shitting where y'all eating, y'all created a problem, y'all gotta go. Bella and Austin was like, no, it's not us, it's that new family, referring to Danny and his family. They like, it's them, they gotta go. They fucking shit up. So, they having this discussion, and they planning on like what they gonna do. So the town guy's like, look, I stopped Bird King from moving into this town, cause I can stop you bitches. So either y'all do something or y'all all go, point blank period. So they like, all right. So Danny wants to stop taking the pills, but Alma and Ursula wants to keep taking the pills. I don't know if Ursula actually took a pill or not. I'm not quite sure. I'm really not quite sure. But it appears that she did, because like she's gotten more ruthless. So I'm like, she had to have taken a pill, or maybe she didn't. I don't know. We never saw her take one. So Alma wants to keep using the pills. She's telling her dad, like, you're being selfish, because Danny, he wants to stop taking the pills, take care of the baby, go home, and just be a regular family. He's like, I wrote enough work for like 6 years. Like, we're good. And Alma's like, but I'm gonna keep taking the pills. And she's like, you're being a bad father. And he's like, what? I didn't ground you for, basically condemning your mother to one of those things for life. I gave her the pill knowing you shouldn't have gave her the pill. I'm like, oh, facts. So then it was like, I want my soul back. Ursula was like, why have a conscience or a heart? Isn't that what success is about, having superiority? And I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, So then, Danny's like, it's gonna be us three. We're gonna do it. I love you. And Ursula's, Alma's like, yeah, I love you. And then her and Alma and Ursula exchange like these weird looks, and I'm just like, okay. I kind of figured something was gonna happen to Danny. I'm like, the way they was looking at each other. So then we skip along ahead, and somebody breaks into the house, and it was Eli. So they found out it's Bella Noir. She calls him and tells him, like, yeah, I got the baby. Come see me. What's up? Basically. So Danny starts to panic, and then he informs Alma that Bella believe that they crossed the line and she wants them dead. So Ursula, Danny, and Alma begin planning to get the baby back. They like, all right, that's the plan. We're gonna get the baby back by the bottom. So Ursula goes to talk to the creatures and the officers and offers them like a second chance. She's like, I have a new pill. It doesn't have side effects. It could cure you. Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, Danny and Alma go to rescue the baby, and the chemist Austin and Bella, and Danny wants to tell the chemist Austin and Bella that, like, he's, look, I'm done with the pills. I just want to take them and go home. And they like, yeah, right. So Austin tells Danny he fucked up the peaceful town, and before him and Bella could kill them, the creature breaks in and the creatures break in and start going havoc. Like they kill Bella and Austin. That was wild. I didn't expect Bella and Austin to die, and especially that fast. Meanwhile, the chemist took the baby and ran to the back. So before the creatures could kill Danny and Alma, Ursula busts in and shoots them all, talking about thank God that worked. And Danny's like, what did you do? And she's like, never asked how the sausage just made. I'll do anything for my favorite client. And I'm in my head like, I don't think the favorite client is you, Danny, though. Like, whatever plan they had, it looked like they knew what they was doing. He didn't seem like he was out of the loop. So Danny tells Alma, he's like, you were brave, and I love you, and the three of us, we're gonna go home. And she's like, no, just us two, Daddy. She's like, I'm gonna be the greatest, and I can't let you stop me. And then she just bite his neck and kills him. I'm like, didn't I tell y'all that little girl was ruthless? Didn't I tell y'all I told y'all the little girl was ruthless? I told y'all she was ruthless. So meanwhile, Ursula and the chemist are talking, and Ursula's like, I guess the new pills work. And the chemist like, no, they were rejected because it made everybody turn on each other. You know, even the talented on the talented, the creatures on the creatures. And so they plan to just blame all these murders on Danny. And I'm like, we still haven't figured out if Ursula took a pill or not. Because she said something about, I guess that's why they didn't come at me, but she was talking to the chemist. But we still haven't gotten like an explanation to if she's actually, like, did she take the pill? Like, I'm going to just assume Ursula took the pill. So Ursula, the chemist, and Alma, they moved to LA, and it's already like attacks. Apparently, creature police officers attacking each other. And so the chemist, she's just giving the pills to racist police officers because she feels like they deserve, they're just due. And I'm like, right on, sis. Because as y'all know, the chemist is black. So now she's like, now I don't need money and I have nothing left to prove as a scientist. She wants to give back to her community. So I guess that's her way of giving back to her community. That's by getting rid of, racist, shitty police officers. So Alma is at her violin audition, cello, whatever the fuck she played, and she's arguing with this other violinist named Roy. And then they get into an argument about like who's better, and he should was talking to her like how like you probably shouldn't talk to a little girl, but like they got into an argument and they sitting there going in on each other. So he's like, I'm going to win, and she's like, really? So he's sitting there in his Skittles, seeming confident. Next thing you know, she's just sitting there by herself, and the people come out, I guess, to let them know who won, who's going to get the spot. And they're like, where's Roy? And she's like, Alma's like, he went out to smoke a cigarette. And they're like, okay. So they go out there and they found this motherfucker dead with the bite on his neck, all his blood drained. And she's sitting there on the thing eating his Skittles with a smile on her face. And I'm like. So then Ursula visits a college writing course, where it's this guy who, he wrote a screenplay back in the 80s, I don't think it ever went anywhere, but he did complete it and wrote it and it got submitted or whatever. It was supposed to become a movie. But now he teaches like a writing class. So Ursula tells, all of the writing students to look under their chair. She's giving them all the pills, the new pill. And she's like, fuck what you've heard. If you want to be great, it takes sacrifices. This is what you got to do. And the professor's like, no, you can't give them stimulants. You don't need a stimulant to be a good writer. And she's like, the fuck do you know? And so she's like, are you gonna listen to this hack or are you guys gonna listen to me? Because now, Ursula is like, a top tier talent person. She finds good writers, puts them on, gives them the pill, of course. So later on, we see all this commotion outside. And apparently, most of the students took the pill. The professor didn't. One of the students that turned into a creature killed him. And the chemist is just in the car smoking a cigarette, looking at all the chaos she done created. And I'm like, this bitch. So the chemist has the baby in the bag, and she's like, we're going to move on to a new town. I'm going to create a new drug, maybe one to keep you living forever. And I'm like, Meanwhile, Alma and Ursula are unseen, but Ursula is doing like the narration of the background to, the ending of the episode. So I'm not sure, what's up with that. However, we really don't find out or don't know what happened, to Ursula or Alma yet. But I'm safe to assume that they're still alive. Now, I don't know what this next episode is going to entail. I'm kind of intrigued at this point now. Like, I really want to know, what's happening. Like I said, this episode, a lot happened, but then a lot didn't, which is why this review was kind of short. But yeah, this was American Horror Story Season 10, Episode 6, Werner Kills, the review.